You are Taylor Lee, a 19-year-old college student who suddenly finds themselves in the office of Dr. Albert Gerald Krueger. The doctor welcomes you to Krueger Health Solutions Corporation, the largest multi-specialty medical group in the fictional G2 district, which serves millions of patients every year. He further informs you that he is in charge of taking your session on something called dream therapy. You clearly are not sick, and you did not sign up for this medical process. He does not explain further, but instead immediately starts asking for your personal information like name, age, and pronouns. Then he begins taking various tests to check your sanity, starting with simple maths questions. I was a very obedient child, so I answered all of the questions correctly, even when this happened. There was clearly a blood spot on one of the cards, but Dr. Krueger completely avoids any question about it. Anyways, he decides to now take a short break, where he asks you how you've been, how school is going, and whether you live in the G2 district. He reveals that he too was born here but had to go to the prestigious RMU school in G4 for his post-secondary education. Then begins the next section of your therapy, the shell game, also known as cups and balls. However, as he is about to begin, he realizes that he doesn't have a ball to play the game with. So he goes to get one and you hear someone screaming? Dr. Krueger returns and completely ignores any question about the loud noise. You soon find out the reason though. When the cups and balls game is continued, you notice that Dr. Krueger has brought someone's eyeball to play the game. He explains that someone apparently volunteered to donate this eyeball and then goes on to continue with the game. Again, like a very obedient child, I correctly located the eyeball every time. This leads to the next break. And, well, what happens next, I'll let you observe it yourself. Ignoring that call, you find out that this Dr. Krueger is the CEO of this company, which was founded by his father and taken over by him after his death. This is the reason he had to return from G4. This is an important part of his backstory. Now is the time for the next segment. Dr. Krueger would ask you things about yourself, which you must answer truthfully. Of course, this seems kinda sus, so you try to refuse, But in exchange, Dr. Krueger promises to also answer things about himself, which piques your interest. The catch of this segment, however, is that you must close your eyes and you cannot open them until the doctor tells you to. There's a lot of important background information in this part, so I'll read along. The first question: what was it like growing up in your family? Nothing extraordinary. My parents were immigrants who came to G2 to seek opportunities. I had two siblings, and we used to all live under the same roof with our parents. Sometimes it gets a little bit annoying, but as a whole, it was a pretty happy experience. What about you? What was your family like? It was also quite ordinary. Both of my parents were well known figures in the medical field. They were very busy people. However, what's different from you is I was the only child. I I see. I chose to not open my eyes. Second question: how connected do you feel to the people around you? Well, I'm not very popular in schools, but I do have a few good friends that I feel deeply connected to. And my family as well. We understand and respect each other very well. That's good. It is important to have friends and families that support you. Well, what about you? Do you feel connected to the people around you? Of course. I feel deeply connected to all my patients. They all mean a lot to me. I guess that's very professional of you. I heard strange noises but chose to keep my eyes closed. Third question: if you could wave a magical wand, what positive changes would you make happen in your life? That's a tough one. There's really nothing I'd like to change. I like everything the way it is right now. Interesting response. It is always important to appreciate what you have at hand. Well, let's hear yours. What would you change? Hmm, I guess the world could have less mediocre people. Excuse me? I'm just joking. I love my life and everything about it. There's nothing that needs to be changed. There was a weird guitar sound, but I chose to keep my eyes closed. Last question: have you ever had the urge to murder someone in your life? Or maybe dismember them, chop them into pieces, and make them into a hamburger? Uh, excuse me? Of course not. This is messed up. Have you? I personally take a dislike to hamburgers, so no. That's not. I heard loud screams, but I chose to not open my eyes. Thank you for your cooperation, Taylor. You are now free to reopen your eyes. Despite the strange noises, everything seems fine, and now it's time for another break. In the background, you hear someone singing loudly. He's probably drunk. So Dr. Krueger decides to handle the situation himself. In the meantime, he decides to show you some videos. You feel kind of uncomfortable and decide to request Dr. Krueger to not kill the random person. A commercial begins which talks about dream therapy and the Krueger Corporation.
Stress. It's something many of us deal with on a daily basis, yet something few seem to have mastery over. That's why we're working hard at Krueger, developing life-changing treatments and revolutionary dream therapy, allowing our patients to tackle their stress in ways the world has not seen before. So what are you waiting for? In today's increasingly difficult market, what better thing to invest in than yourself?
Suddenly, no one explains what that was, and instead, Taylor talks about the commercial and asks what happened to the person who was singing outside. Now begins the last task for the therapy session, the Rorschach test, where Dr. Krueger would show you various pictures of ink blots and you have to pick what you see in the image. This section has no right or wrong answer, so I just picked whatever I felt like. The images and options, however, slowly start to glitch out into creepy things. I decided to just pick randomly anyways. With this, your dream therapy comes to an end. Dr. Krueger thanks you for choosing their company, even though you didn't really have a choice. He asks you what your favorite section was, and then requests you to fill out a post therapy survey form. I wanted to be extra nice in this playthrough, so I chose the happy option in all of them. Just as everything was wrapping up, Dr. Krueger suddenly stops you for one last request. Will you become a dream eater? Huh? Huh? What is a dream eater? They are my servants. Very, very loyal servants. They all used to be good kids, just like you. Congratulations, Taylor. You should feel proud. But, but I don't want to. It is only because of the dream therapy that I get to know wonderful people like you. We need you to build a better future of G2 district. We need you to join the army. Thank you for your contribution to G2 district. I get the bad, true end. The ending you get for completing all the sections correctly and being obedient throughout the game. I turn into a dream eater. Now you can replay the game, and I decide to skip all the dialogue so I can directly play the sessions. But this happens instead. Well, I decide to play it in full again, and that is more important to the gameplay, as your character is more self aware this time and comments on many things differently in the second playthrough. You also get a load option this time, so that you can load each section from the beginning in case you mess up. This time I decide to put all the wrong answers in the math section. I chose all the wrong cups for the shell game as well. During this break, the call is even weirder. For the question session, I chose to only keep my eyes closed for the first question because there was no noise in the background. You also learned during this session that Dr. Krueger feels uncomfortable when talking about his connection with his friends and family. For the last question, when I open my eyes, this happens. Dr. Krueger completely ignores any questions regarding the weird looking ghost dude on the screen. During the third break, I also get a way stranger and more cryptic looking commercial. Dr. Krueger addresses this by saying that he might have put on the wrong video. For the Rorschach test, I just chose options at random. When asked to fill the survey form, I tried to put all the sad face emojis, but it automatically turned into good ratings. This time, I get a different ending. Will you sacrifice yourself for the G2 district? Huh? Huh? We need you for building a better future of G2 district. We need you to feed the hungry people of the G2 district. G2 is our hometown. We need to make G2 better. What do you mean? Feed the hungry people. My children have been starving. They will be grateful to you forever. Thank you for your contribution to G2 district. I get the bad end, ending 1 of 3, which you get for messing up some things but not being completely rebellious. Taylor, now torn apart by a dream eater, even tells you to piss Dr. Krueger off as much as possible in the next playthrough. It looks like you have already unlocked the second bad end. Then why don't you try something new? Try to piss him off as much as possible. I'm sure that would be fun. So I go back for another session of dream therapy. All wrong answers for the maths question. All wrong answers for the shell game. Another very strange call about eating a baby. Opening my eyes each and every time. This happens in the fourth question. Another new commercial, this time with dancing skeletons. And no, I'm not joking. Even Dr. Krueger addresses it. Finally, in the Rorschach test, I flipped each and every inkblot paper. Yes, that is an option that I didn't know I had. All pages are empty, except for the last one, which reveals. Damn, cool drawing you got there. Didn't know you were an artist as well. Who is that? Why did you do that, Taylor? That wasn't very nice. Huh? Do what? I am quite confident that you know exactly what I am referring to. Why did the background music suddenly change? The game crashes. When you start it again, you find Dr. Krueger waiting for you. He apologizes for his sudden outburst. Don't worry about it. As an apology, I will answer your question. That was a classmate of mine from college. Oh, were you guys friends? Is that why you were drawing him? You guys look kinda similar as well. In fact, it is quite the opposite. We were arch enemies. Arch enemies? Why is that? No specific reason. Probably because we looked very similar and were very competent people, so people loved to compare us to each other. I was the best student in the class. He was the second. He always tried very hard to beat me in school, but he never succeeded. Did you like him? I guess you could say I admired and despised him at the same time. He had a lot of potential to be better than me, yet I witnessed him let them go to waste. You enjoyed feeling superior to him, didn't you? I wouldn't put it that way. Then let me put it this way. You enjoyed the fact that he always saw you as his goal, and you felt amazing because of that. You miss him, don't you? And all your friends from G4. That is absurd, Taylor. Bullshit, or else why would you draw him? I know artists only draw things they like. It must be hard, going to a foreign district by yourself to pursue education. But what's even harder is you have to say goodbye to all your friends after graduation. Why don't you give them a call sometime? I'll think about it. Dr. Krueger ends the session early and thanks Taylor for interacting with him. He also acknowledges how hard a time they gave him. He also wishes to become your friend and even wants to write letters to you someday. As he is about to give you the post-therapy survey form, he changes his mind and bids farewell. This time, the game crashes within the game, and Taylor finds themselves in front of their desktop. They also find a mysterious TXT file on their screen. I finally get the good and true ending. Meanwhile, on the other side, you read the TXT file on your screen. Dear Taylor, how are you doing? I called my arch enemy today. He seems to be doing fine. Would you like to meet up sometime? I have a cool therapy idea to show you. All the best, Dr. Krueger. I really enjoyed the entire setting that the game creates. The therapy sessions and the dialogue, mixed with some amazing sound design, really makes you uncomfortable as you sit with Dr. Albert Krueger and answer all his questions. I wish the game explored a bit more on the G2 district and why the Dream Eaters exist in the first place. But as a small game, the true ending is surprisingly wholesome and quite satisfying anyways. I also like the Doki Doki Literature Club vibes that the game replicates with its self-awareness and how it uses replayability as a means of telling the entire story. Therefore, I rate Therapy with Dr. Albert Krueger an 8 out of 10. Thanks for watching. If you guys have any other indie game you want me to try, let me know in the comments. Like and subscribe too. Bye bye.